as the BMW Motorsport Director for former Grand Prix driver Gerhard Berger. There's the weather, current temperature, beautiful day in Italy, 25 degrees, an easterly wind with a low strength of only 10 kilometres per hour. Big potential, Ryan, for, you touched on it before, chaos into this first chicane. It's very tight, and traditionally over the years we've seen a lot of nonsense there.
Yeah, they get there very fast. You know, there's a lot of distance before getting there, and it's very slow, very tight, and yeah, it always seems to cause a lot of action. And
because of the massive high-speed approaches to the chicanes on this track, very hard on brakes, very high rate of brake and tyre wear, and you'll see when they rattle wheels off in the pit stops, we'll see a massive amount of carbon dust come away from the rotors and the pads.
Well, braking here is very difficult also because of the low aero level, so you know it's very hard on the brakes.
Places a much higher degree of emphasis on the mechanical aspects of the car, and shocks and springs and so on. Warm-up lap for the Italian Grand Prix of 2003. Knife-edge situation in the World Championship. Extreme pressure on these two lead men, and a problem for the Jordan. But is now stuttering underway. And remember, this will be the first appearance in a Grand Prix for Marc Genet in a Williams, who I think did a pretty good job, would you agree, Ryan, in qualifying. He does an awful lot of test miles, but he doesn't get the opportunity to do it in this scenario. Yeah,
definitely. And you know, first time for him to do one lap qualifying, I'm sure there's a lot of pressure there too.
Keep an eye out also because Alonso's at the back of the pack, and he went round at the first chicane, and so we'll see and monitor with interest some progress from him in the Renault starting from that far back. And I've got some information through from Mark Webber just before the start of the race, and he's unfortunately saying that he feels as though it'll be something of a miracle if he can actually come away from this one with a point. He's going to rely heavily on hopefully other people's attrition. They've got tyre wear issues with the Jaguar this weekend, and he says it's also exposed something of an aero weakness in the car. They're just carrying too much drag. They do not have enough downforce to get the kind of lateral load grip that they're looking for. They're a little bit down in the mouth, but he has had some magnificent races throughout the season so far.
And they're in a great battle with BAR Honda, as you can see now, for fifth in the championship. Renault's obviously bolted in terms of a top four position. That's pretty much achieved their aim for the season, but a great battle for the also-rans, if you can call them that.
That's seventh pole of the season now for BMW, should I say Bridgestone, equaling the Michelin 7 pole positions, and there's a man that's been under the blowtorch just in the last 7 or 14 days. Incidentally, it took over £1 million worth of additional development to be able to come up with that rectification for the front tyre for Michelin just in that last 14 days.
Well, we've seen a fair bit of carnage this year from the start line. Let's hope that we don't lose a championship contender early in the race. That certainly would put a dampener on proceedings. We want those top three to be dicing right the way through to the end.
Pretty successful qualifying also for BAR. They've had a good test at Monza. They ran for 3 days. They also ran over in central France with Townsend Bell, who did Indy Lights, and he's been doing Formula 3000 in Europe this year as well. So an intensified effort and strong qualifying from both Jenson Button and Jacques Villeneuve. Something of a face-saver for them because they've had a pretty appalling run just in recent races.
Raikkonen's not won a race since round 2. Schumacher's gone winless. In fact, his scale of point scoring has deteriorated in the last 4 rounds, so very high pressure situation here. Let's hear from Martin Brundle and James Allen.
He'll be changing his strategy, possibly going to a very long first stint, trying to play himself into the game a bit later on. But we will focus now on the Grand Prix, which is about to start.
Montoya messing around with something, and there's Alonso at the back. He'll have an advantage of having warmer tyres. He should be coming through, especially with the launch control he's got. And Montoya was messing around on his side of his cockpit down there. He was very steady as he began this warm-up lap.
Will it be Forza Ferrari or bombastic BMW on the run down to the first corner? We find out now. What a great start from the Toyota down the middle, and a big crash at the back. It's one of the Minardis, I think. Where's Montoya? They're side by side going down the run. He's got a poor start. Barrichello's attacking him. Will he get second place? Yes, he will. He resists Jarno Trulli, who got a flyer, but advantage Schumacher into turn one. Trulli and Barrichello side by side, and that's Justin Wilson. I wonder if it was his car that flew up in the air.
We think it's Alonso ran into the back of Wilson. Alonso on the back of the grid after he spun yesterday, and look at this down into turn two. Schumacher having to cover the line. Montoya, will he get through there? They'll tangle if they're not careful. They're so close to tangling, and Michael Schumacher braves it out on the outside. Brilliant action on this first lap, and will he lose out to the fast starting Renault of Trulli? No, Trulli backs out of it. It's Barrichello that lost out. Also, he's back to fourth.
Well, that certainly wasn't in Montoya's game plan. He tried very, very hard there.
Renault stopped. Sorry, James. The Renault backed out of it. So the two McLarens flashed past. What's happened to Jarno Trulli? So Michael Schumacher, Montoya, and it's Barrichello, Raikkonen, and a very fast starting David Coulthard.
Well, Montoya said yesterday he was not afraid to attack Michael Schumacher here. There you can see Jarno Trulli. Something's gone wrong with that car. He suddenly lost drive, so perhaps engine hydraulics, who knows. But now Montoya has got to sit and think about the back of Michael Schumacher, who has a small 2 miles an hour advantage in a straight line. But Montoya's car is set up to protect the rear tyres more during the course of the race and to be more stable under braking. It's going to be cat and mouse on the tactics as well.
Looking forward to seeing a replay of that. Michael Schumacher knew he had to control this race. There is Barrichello having a go. He passed. No, he was up to the third because of the Renault's problem, but he may just get penalised for that. He didn't gain a place, but he sure did manage to not lose one. Michael Schumacher with a 0.7 of a second lead. Schumacher leads as Alonso comes in. It does look as though it was him that hit the back of the Jaguar of Justin Wilson. Let's look at the order then. Michael Schumacher at the end of lap one leads Montoya. Barrichello third. Raikkonen is fourth. Fifth is David Coulthard. Sixth, Panis. Seventh, Marc Genet. Eighth, Villeneuve. Ninth, Button, who has dropped from seventh on the grid, and Villeneuve's had a blinder of a start, up 2 places to pass his teammate. Webber is 10th for Jaguar, 11th Heidfeld, and 12th de Matter. So the fast starters then. Genet slipped down at 3 points, Button down 4. Trulli was up 3, and now his car's stopped. Coulthard up 2, Villeneuve up 2. Wilson appeared not to start, and we think Alonso ran clean into the back of him. And in the pits then is Verstappen in the Minardi. Alonso has now departed pit lane with a new front nose and wing. Trulli has stopped in the first sector. Wilson is running again now. Wilson back in the Grand Prix. Apparently we're hearing from our F1 ITV pit crew that Wilson couldn't find first gear, so that was obviously the problem for him on the grid, and Alonso didn't expect the Jaguar not to move, so he hit the back of it. There you can see the Minardi just filtering back in as Mark Webber runs a little bit wide into the first corner. Everybody's got their temperatures up, everyone's pushing hard. You can see a lot of people running wide. Let's look again. Yeah, at the back then, and whoa, right up in the air then, and I don't think it was Wilson at all. I think it must have been Verstappen that he hit. So Alonso, with the fast-starting Renault, unfortunately started right into the back of somebody else. And this, Michael Schumacher just making it through the first chicane. Here we go again. Now you're going to see who got run into the back of by Alonso. And that's the parade lap. This is the parade lap. So Italian showing us the wrong one here, I think. This is the parade lap. So back to the Grand Prix then. Michael Schumacher still leading by 0.7 of a second from Barrichello. It is noted on the computer that he missed turn 2, but no action at this time. Raikkonen, Coulthard, Genet in 6th. Well, we start to turn our attention to thinking a little bit about tactics. Recall that with the new rules, you have to qualify on Saturday with the fuel with which you'll start Sunday's Grand Prix. And it's always a guessing game, how much fuel to put in to get yourself a little bit further up the grid. But you don't want to compromise yourself come race day. Well, the intelligence coming up from the pits and paddock this morning was that Michael Schumacher has perhaps 2, maybe 3 laps less fuel than Juan Montoya. That could prove potentially critical if it is the case. Montoya able to run a little bit longer in the first stint than his rival, and we believe that McLaren, Kimi Raikkonen, has a reasonable amount of fuel as well. McLaren very bullish about the tactics, very bullish about the car they've put on the track today. They believe they can play a part in this Grand Prix. There is Kimi Raikkonen chasing down Rubens Barrichello. He's got David Coulthard just behind him, and this is lap 4. So then Michael's still got his rear gunner in 3rd place. Montoya's out by himself. Genet's been dropped down to 6th, and he's 8.8 seconds adrift. And Raikkonen's mates come up behind him in the form of David Coulthard. So they've certainly, two of the three of them have got the help they need, as Justin Wilson pits again, unfortunately for him. He's running at the back, and clearly still some dramas, probably in the gearbox department. There's Janae falling back from the leading pack. He needs to be up there for BMW. If they need points. He's in there today. In place of Ralf Schumacher, he must score some points.
Certainly does. We're hearing now from the pits that it was, in fact, Jos Verstappen who got hit by Alonso. That's been confirmed now. He has punctures, he has a damaged car, as you would imagine. So that clears up that little issue. Ted, what can you tell us?
Down at Renault, James, Renault have really a problem in that Jarno Trulli has stopped in a blind spot in the circuit.
1 second, Ted. Sorry, Cristiano D'Amato has had a left rear puncture coming down towards the Parabolica, and that was potentially very dangerous indeed at over 200 miles an hour, but luckily nobody hit him.
Interesting, though. Was that a puncture? Was it some kind of failure? That'll be causing a bit of concern as to what actually happened there. Clearly, lots of drama in the off the start and through. Here you're going to see the left rear. It's already come inboard. Luckily, he didn't back it into the barrier. It will have destroyed the underneath, but the car's out of the Grand Prix, beached in the gravel. They'll tow that away, I'd imagine, under double-waved yellows. I don't anticipate a safety car situation for that.
There are the waved yellows, as you can see. Trulli's car over on the side of the track. Green flag there means it's okay. The significance of that means you can't overtake when during the yellow flag zone. Ted, sorry to interrupt you. What do you have to tell us?
No, that's all right, James. Yeah, just that Trulli has stopped in a blind spot in the circuit, so they've got no idea what happened. The radio failed, so they don't know whether it was anything like that. We think it might be an electronic failure that stopped Alonso yesterday. That would be the most likely explanation at this point.
Brilliant driving from Montoya and Michael Schumacher. This, of course, a replay of the first lap. Montoya still wanting to have another go, and truly thinking, I'll have a piece of this action. Montoya probably didn't realise he was so close, but stunning driving from the leading two there. But it was Michael Schumacher who braved it out, got his car in the right place. The gap now 1.8 seconds. But look at that, the two McLarens right in there too, James.
They certainly are. Montoya was 1.8 seconds behind Michael Schumacher, as you say. A further two behind him is Rubens Barrichello. 1.5 seconds behind Barrichello is Raikkonen. And Montoya obviously at the moment content to sit behind Michael Schumacher. He's had one go at passing him. He's had two, in fact, goes into the first two chicanes. It hasn't paid off, so now he's playing a waiting game.
And the yellows have gone. They've obviously cleared D'Amato's car down at Parabolica. But yesterday, interestingly, when Toyota had a problem in exactly the same place that Trulli's car stopped, they red flagged the session. You're going to pass it now. They cannot recover a car from that place. It's underneath the old circuit. At the moment, no signs of a safety car, though. And Michael Schumacher still leads by 1.8 seconds from Montoya. Barrichello a further 1.9 behind.
Welcome back. This is the Italian Grand Prix, and I'm sitting here with two drivers. I don't know. Would you like to be in that start, Ryan Briscoe? That was breathtaking.
Oh, unbelievable. And fantastic driving from both Schumacher and Montoya. It's amazing they didn't touch.
That was very impressive, that side-by-side action as those guys went through the chicane. Interestingly, Rubens is the fastest man on the circuit at the moment at 22.4. He's just gone 1/10 quicker than Michael. And for fans of Mark Webber, he's moved up a spot and currently sits in 10th position. He's lapping in the low 1:24, so he's giving away a couple of seconds at the moment to the leaders.
Schumacher just pulling out a little bit of time on Montoya, but Barrichello, of course, courtesy of that fastest lap, has squeezed up on him. And in the distance, Raikkonen and Coulthard on top there watching very carefully. James made a very good point about the setup of the cars. Montoya saving the rear tyre, so that'll be interesting when we get a little bit further into the race.
Ryan, just looking at the profile of the curbs at Monza, it looks to me like a place where it'd be very easy to damage a tyre, and that's a possible explanation as to what's happened to your teammate Cristiano.
Yeah, it could be. It's difficult to see what actually happened maybe on the first lap if there was contact or something, but yeah, it's certainly not nice to have your rear tyre blow at 200k an hour.
Massive straight line speed as we listen to the Ferrari. Another one from Barrichello. He's really cranking it up now as we go back to Martin Brundle and James Allen.
Lap 8 of the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. You've missed nothing. Rubens Barrichello there has just set the fastest lap of the race so far, a 1:22.3. Pretty fierce pace as he closes down Juan Montoya. His task today to get in front of him and try and protect Michael Schumacher and also protect his championship position by taking points